What's going on, class? My name is Brian Gorham. Today I'm going to talk to you about the topic of cosmology. I chose cosmology because, to me, the universe is actually really interesting. And ever since I was little, I loved learning about it. Um, it's one big mystery, so I always like finding out new discoveries and researching new things on it. So what I thought I would do is I would research it, learn about it, perfect it, and then teach you guys about it. So, first off, cosmology is the study of the origins, evolution, and eventual fate of the universe. Um, what people know are there are two types of cosmology. There's physical cosmology and religious cosmology. I mean, a lot of people know, we've talked about it in this class, the debate between the two. Um, so I'm going to go into some detail about what the difference is between the two. First off, physical cosmology. Um, that's the scholarly and scientific study of the origin, evolution, large scale structures, and dynamics, and then the ultimate fate of the universe, as well as the scientific laws that govern these realities. Uh, Physical cosmology is the branch of physics and astrophysics that deals with the study of the physical origins and evolution of the universe, like I just said. Now, in comparison, religious cosmology is basically beliefs of, what they've learned in, through the Bible or church or religious classes. Um, the true definition is it's a body of beliefs based on the historical, mythological, religious traditions of creation. So in the Bible, obviously, a lot of people think, Catholics and all that think that God created their universe. They've been brought up to learn and believe that. Um, so this view is mainly Christianity, so Catholics and all that stuff, modern Judaism. Um, they all view this topic as God's own creation. So, like I mentioned earlier, there's a big debate between, was it the Big Bang Theory or was it God that created the universe? And I mean, it's hard to really choose sides, I guess. I've grown up Catholic, so I've been taught, God created the universe. But at the same time, I've also taken classes and all that stuff, like this class, for example, that talks about how, the Big Bang Theory was the reason the universe was created. So I lean more toward the scientific side because there's more evidence backing it up. But at the same time, I'm not ruling out the fact that, there could be a higher power that created this universe. But yeah, there's more evidence backing up the Big Bang Theory. So for now, I'm going to stick with that. Now, a little bit more on the Big Bang Theory. For those that don't know, it's the prevailing cosmological model for the early development of the universe, like I just said. The key idea is that the universe is expanding with the Big Bang Theory. This tells us that back then, the universe was a lot denser and hotter. Now, the Big Bang model suggests that at some moment, all of space was contained in a single point, which I found really interesting. This is considered the beginning of the universe. Then, as time went on and more research went on, measurements were placed, and we ended up discovering that the universe was approximately 13.8 billion years old. So that's actually really cool to think about. Then I went on to research more about it, and I came up with I found that the subsequent modeling of the universe explored the possibility that cosmological constant, um, introduced by Einstein actually in his paper in 1917, or in his 1917 paper, may result in an expanding universe, depending on its value. Um, so, I mean, these discoveries and this research has been going on since even before Einstein. Um, Continuing, thus, the Big Bang model was proposed by the Belgian priest George, I can't even pronounce the last name, Lemaitre, in 1927, which was subsequently uh, corroborated by Edwin Hubble in his new discovery of the redshift in 1929, and later by the discovery of the cosmic microwave background radiation by Arno Penzias and Robert Woodrow Wilson in 1964. So, like I said, there are a lot of people, that have done research on this, and you could just see the timeline, of all the people. And I mean, Woodrow Wilson, uh, Hubble. What people don't know is, might not know, is Edwin Hubble is kind of the creator of Hubble's law, which I found really interesting as well. Now, the good thing with all this research and these findings is that it ended up ruling out many alternative physical cosmologies. It just narrowed it down. Then the Big Bang Theory ended up offering a comprehensive explanation for a broad range of observed phenomena, including the abundance of light elements, the cosmic microwave background, large-scale structures, and Hubble's law. And like I mentioned earlier, Hubble's law is the name for the observation in physical cosmology that 1. Objects observed in deep space that are found to have a Doppler shift interpretable as relative velocity moves away from the Earth. Then 2, it's the observation of physical cosmology that this Doppler shift measured velocity of various galaxies receding from the Earth and is approximately proportional to their distance from the Earth for galaxies up to a few hundred megaparsecs away. Now, recent observation, I found this actually really interesting. Recent observations made by the COBE and WMAP satellites observing the background radiation have effectively, in many scientists' eyes, transformed cosmology from a highly speculative science into a predictive science, as these observations matched predictions made by a theory called cosmic inflation, which is a modification of the standard Big Bang model. Now, what a lot of people want to know is what's happening to the universe now, and where it stands from billions of years ago. Right now, the universe is expanding. In the 1920s, astronomer Edwin Hubble made a groundbreaking discovery that the universe is not static, but rather it's expanding. In 1998, the Hubble Space Telescope studied distant supernovas and found that the universe was expanding more slowly a long time ago compared with the pace of its expansion today. So, as a result, I mean, the universe is expanding at a rapid rate. And then scientists believed that the gravity of matter would gradually slow the universe's expansion or even cause it to contract. Now, with that belief, I'm not too sure if that means they're wrong and it's just going to keep speeding up at a rapid rate, or if their prediction's right and it's going to gradually slow down. I'm not too sure. I couldn't find out if they made that discovery yet. But moving on, the cosmologists explained that this acceleration was something called dark energy, which is thought to be the force pulling the cosmos apart at ever-increasing speeds. So my guess is, how I interpret this is that the scientists were wrong, and instead of the gradual slowdown, it's increasing speed due to the dark matter, or dark energy, I'm sorry. Now, dark energy, we just learned, makes up about 70% of the universe. But since the elusive energy remains undetected, it remains one of the most compelling topics in this topic, cosmology. Also, with the universe now, we have discovered that it's flat. So that was, I'm not too sure what they thought it was before. Couldn't really figure that out, but it's flat now. So as it's expanding, it's slowly flattening out. Like if you were to take, let's see, a ball of silly putty and you pulled it apart. As you pull it apart, it gets thinner and stretches out. So that's how I interpret this as well. Now, this part of the topic is really interesting as well. This is one of the most, I guess, feared in a sense, and I guess in my personal opinion, I want to find out about this. Like I'm interested in finding out how the whole journey of the universe is going to end. So my next topic is how the universe will come to an end. Like I said, a lot of people are afraid of it, and then some are anxious. Like I would say I'm more on the anxious side. I want to learn about what's going to happen and how it will happen. Personally, I don't think that it's going to happen in our lifetime, but I do think that they're going to make some discoveries to where we're going to find out what will happen when that time comes. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I may be weird about that, but I think it's pretty interesting. So, as I just said, I mean, the research, I mean, it's not clear right now. There are theories and possibilities of what might happen, but there's no definitive answer. So, scientists are constantly seeking to better understand the origin of the universe and its evolution in order to try and find out how it will end eventually. Cosmologists considered 3 outcomes for the end of the universe, and the outcomes depend on the critical density of the universe. So one outcome is that if the critical density was too high, then there was enough mutual gravity to slow and eventually halt the expansion. But this will eventually, I mean, not in our lifetime, cause the universe to collapse in on itself, and then it would possibly, they believe, create another Big Bang, which, once again, is pretty interesting. That's what I like to find out. Because if it creates another Big Bang, does that mean, then that means it's going to create another universe, and what's going to be in that universe, like, all these different planets, maybe even intelligent life. I don't know. So this will happen billions of years into the future. So, like I said, I'm not too worried about it. The chances of us obviously seeing this happen or anything like that is slim to none, you know. But the term for this is known as a closed universe. And then the final result, which is the collapsing on itself, is ironically called the Big Crunch. Now, the second outcome is if the critical density is too low, then there wouldn't be enough gravity to hold things together. So this would result in the expansion, which would continue on forever and ever. So, I mean, like we were just talking about, the expansion will constantly create it to just pull and flatten out and flatten out. Now, if you think in your head, when you expand, things will spread apart. So this would end up resulting in stars dying, and then galaxies being spread apart, and then everything would end up cooling down to the background temperature of the universe. The term for this is called an open universe, and the end is known as the Big Freeze. So basically, everything will just end up freezing, and that's how our universe would die. And then the third outcome would be if the critical density was just right, the universe's expansion would end up going on forever, just like the second outcome, but then it will always be slowing down. Then that would eventually reach a dead stop in an infinite amount of time. So then this would create a flat universe, but then that would also lead to the Big Freeze. So I find these three outcomes to be pretty interesting. Like I said, there's more possibilities out there. These are the three that I ended up finding, and the three that I found most interesting. Some people say that it might lead to three. When I did my research, some scientists said that right now outcome number 3 seems to be the most correct, I guess you could say. But once again, time will only tell. No one can give you a definitive answer just yet. So, but then in 1988, astronomers then discovered that the expansion of the universe is actually speeding up. And so some people are now canceling out the belief of number 3. So now as it speeds up, then that would just end up, I believe, let's see, I would say outcome number 3 once again. I mean, it would, I mean, the expansion would just keep going and going and going and increase. So that would cause it to flatten out, everything spread out, and then it would cause that Big Freeze that I just mentioned. To me, this is what seems most, possible. The fact that if what the scientists are discovering is true, then it's just going to keep expanding at a more rapid rate, which will cause us to spread apart, and then who knows. Personally, I hope they find out soon, like within the next few years. I don't know. I just want to learn about it and figure out, what the truth is, like what's going to happen. It's like the cliffhanger at the end of the movie. You want to know what's going to happen, or at the end of the book. You want to know. So that's how I feel right now about it. Like, I just want to know what's going to happen. If it's outcome 1, if it's outcome 2, if it's outcome 3, or if it's none of these outcomes that, if it's something other than the outcomes that they came up with. So, to me, this whole topic's very interesting. There's a lot to learn about it, a lot currently being learned and researched, and then previously being researched. Einstein, um, and then Woodrow Wilson, and then um, Hubble. All these people doing research on it, building up to now. Um, and now technology is more advanced, so who knows? Maybe we'll end up figuring it out soon. Um, but all this research is going to end up building up and coming up with a definitive answer. So who knows? Maybe their research was wrong, but at the same time, if it's right, then we'll find out, and it'll be pretty interesting to find out what the answer is. Now, in closing, the origin of the universe is believed, like I said, to come from two different viewpoints. One, the physical, which is the Big Bang Theory and the science, and basically. And then two is the religious aspect of it, which is God created the universe, or a higher power created the universe. I can't, like I said before, necessarily agree with one or the other, but I'm leaning more toward the physical aspect of it, just because of all the research that I just found out about, and the evidence supporting the Big Bang Theory. And then we end up finding out that today the universe is expanding at an increasing speed. In the past, it wasn't as fast as it is now. It was actually a lot slower, which is then creating our universe to be flat. And then finally, to wrap this up, the outcomes, the fate of the universe. One, either the universe will, the gravity will slow and then eventually halt the expansion, and then it will cause the universe to collapse on itself, creating a new Big Bang Theory. Second outcome was the universe will expand and continue on forever and ever, and then everything, as it keeps going and expands, the stars would die, galaxies would move further apart, and then everything would just cool down and freeze. And then the third outcome, which was the expansion will go on forever, and it's always going to be slowing down. So those two combinations would reach a dead stop in an infinite amount of time, which would also create a big freeze. And like I said, personally, outcome number one seems to me the most interesting, not because in a billion years, I'm going to be dead by then, but more toward the lines of, if that does happen, the fact that it would create another Big Bang, and then the fact that that Big Bang could create another universe like ours, and then to me it could be a constant cycle. I don't know. To me, the universe is just one big mystery, and that's why I love finding out about it. That's one of the reasons why I ended up taking this class. And it's fun to learn about all the new discoveries and research people have done. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you at least took something from this video, and if you have the time or want, comment on it. Let me know how you guys feel about anything that I just talked about, either any of the outcomes, which ones you guys believe to be more true, and maybe which ones you guys would also like to have, or not like to have happen, but would find interesting if it happened. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.